Genos is an extremely serious character, rarely if ever making jokes. He constantly aims to become stronger and frequently looks to Saitama for advice to achieve his goals. Since becoming Saitama's disciple, Genos is very reverent and protective towards Saitama, who he refers to as Master. Genos envies and reveres Saitama, although this does not stop him from expressing annoyance and disbelief at the mundane training regimen Saitama used to gain his powers. Physical abilities. Immense strength. Enhanced by his cyborg physiology, Genos possesses incredible physical strength, and is capable of breaking apart the ground with a dropkick, and punching rapidly with enough force to tear apart a cliff face. He is also able to lift a truck with a single hand without difficulty. During his brief fight with the Deep Sea King, he was able to land a full-force punch on the creature that sent it flying through the wall of the safety shelter. In his fight with Geru noted that his strength rivaled that of Tank Top Master. Immense speed and reflexes. Genos is very agile and he can move so fast that he appears to be teleporting. He was able to keep up with Speedo Sonic for a considerable amount of time in their battle, with both of them moving faster than sound, and Fubuki being unable to follow their movements at all. Immense endurance. Genos' body is almost completely artificial and does not have the same vulnerabilities that completely organic beings possess. He does not tire in the conventional sense, as his performance and abilities are tied to the condition of his cybernetics, energy supply in his core along with the energy output of his core. His body is composed of super hard materials and can only be hurt when outside forces exceed the limits of those materials. He can shrug off small explosions, as when Sonic hit him full on with his exploding shurikens. Genos can continue fighting without much drawback even with portions of his body missing. As he has no blood or vital fluids, he cannot suffer from blood loss, and as his nervous system is connected to his cybernetic body differently than normal humans, he cannot be inflicted with or inhibited by going into shock. He has been able to fight and move even after his limbs have been torn off at various times. During separate battles, he is able to stand on his feet after several blows from Carnage Kabuto, and is also able to stay conscious even after he used almost all the energy in his core. Due to most of his body being artificial, he appears to have an extremely high tolerance to injuries due to him not being able to feel pain for the most part. However, given the expression on his face after making contact with the Deep Sea King's acid spit, it could be assumed that Genos feels pain from the direct acidic corrosion of his body. Besides this, he does not often show significant signs of physical stress. Radiation resistance. Being a cyborg, Genos is highly resistant to deadly radiation that can cause strong humans like heroes, even S-Class ones, to collapse very quickly and will ultimately kill them upon enough exposure. Cyborg modifications. Full-body cyborg enhancement. Genos' entire body has been replaced with combat-ready cybernetics and prostheses, giving him an extreme level of strength and speed, as well as advanced sensors and projectile attacks. All of his parts have made Genos too heavy to swim, and he needs special parts in order to do so. In addition to these modifications, Dr. Cusino gave Genos the ability to taste and made it so his cybernetic body turns organic intake into biofuel, presumably to power his person. He has been shown eating on multiple occasions, like when he engages in an eating contest with Saitama and when he eats hot pot at Saitama's apartment. Core. Genos' body is powered by an energy sphere labeled core. It is attached to his body by a single cable and is held inside his chest. During his attempt to destroy the meteor, Genos removed the core from his chest and placed it in a similar holding place in his arm, in arms mode, to direct all the energy into his incineration cannons. During his fight with Psychos and Orochi, it transpires that the core is a nuclear reactor. Armor and replacement parts. Genos benefits from the nature of robotic equipment itself. He can lose limbs or have his body torn apart, only to return in perfect or even an improved condition through replacement parts and repairs. As a cyborg, Genos does not seem to feel pain to the same extent as regular humans and can keep fighting even when limbs are severed or he is severely injured. Genos' durability is high enough that despite taking several powerful blows from Carnage Kabuto and having one of his own powerful blasts reflected at him, he was still conscious and able to stand and walk. Cyborg leg Genos' legs have a durable design to support high-speed movement. They are equipped with a shock-absorbing mechanism that keeps the interval between landing and the next movement short. And from his post-Super Fight Arc upgrade onward, Genos has rocket boosters installed in his legs which allow him to perform powerful kinetic kick attacks. An example of this is his jet drive arrow. Incineration cannons Genos' palms contain ports that allow him to fire large, powerful blasts of heat, fire, or plasma across significant distances. One blast was powerful enough to obliterate the multi-story above-ground headquarters of the House of Evolution, as well as the top of the mountain it was situated on and a large chunk of a mountain far in the distance behind the building. His incineration cannons have varying levels of power depending on what set of arms he is currently using. For example, when utilizing arms mode, Genos' arms can produce even stronger blasts. When using his arms for chores, he can reduce the power of his blasts to a warm breeze to dry dishes. Hypersensors Genos' cyborg body contains several passive and active sensors which allow him to scan the environment, such as detecting living organisms, fast-approaching objects, high-energy bodies and many other anomalies, thus keeping him on guard. However, the sensors are not perfect, as they can still be confused by the extreme speed of an opponent like Saitama or by certain monsters like Elder Centipede who are so large that Genos' sensors identify it as many different enemies. Their usefulness is also limited by Genos' reaction time. Search-Eye Genos is capable of detecting heat signatures, analyzing speeds, and levels of energy nearby. Once a target is locked onto, he will effectively keep track of it, even if the target is hidden by a smoke screen. Instant Adhesive Gel, a tool Genos gained after his fight with Sonic to deal with opponents faster than him. The gel is extremely sticky and fast-acting, preventing fast opponents from moving and allowing Genos to defeat them. Detachable body parts. Genos first sported detachable and recallable arms during his fight with G4, where the arms were retrieved with a cable. During his fight with Geru, his hands are upgraded to be able to detach from his body with ease and are armed with rocket boosters to be controlled by Genos remotely. It is also armed with steel wire to restrain opponents. Genos also reattached his torso with his lower body when he was cut in two during his battle against Elder Centipede. Arm blades. Genos' arms are armed with razor-sharp blades. These debuted in his post-Super Fight Arc upgrade. He used them to kill a number of low-ranking members of the Monster Association sent to assist Geru well as to blind Elder Centipede during their fight, to seemingly no avail. Boosters once engaged. These boosters located in Genos' shoulders and elbows enable amazing acceleration and limited flight. Using his palms for jet propulsion in the opposite direction, he can perform rapid maneuvers. The upgrades given to Genos by Dr. Cusino before the Monster Association raid have given these boosters greater power, granting Genos the ability to travel upwards at great heights. Arms for chores. When not in battle, Genos can change into special arms dedicated to house chores. Anti-Saitama Tactical Arms. These are a set of replacements Genos used during the National Superhero Registry arc when Genos and Saitama sparred in the quarry. These arms are differentiated from his normal arms by being black, having much larger shoulders, forearms, and fists and generating an orange glow between the plates of metal. The fists and forearms of these arms open to reveal several cannons. The beams generated by the cannons are significantly larger than those of his normal arms and are characterized by smaller individual beams circling the main beam. If he puts both of his fists together, the resulting blast is massive, much larger than that of one arm. Arms Mode, a prototype weapon system. When inactive, it takes the form of a suitcase. To activate it, Genos pushes a button on the handle and then throws it in front of him. The suitcase splits down the middle and separates, each half then opening to reveal the arms inside. Post-Sea Monster Arc upgrade. After his battle against Deep Sea King, Genos now has the ability to detach his limbs, namely his hands, as seen in his fight against G4 when he used Rocket Punch. His limbs are only semi-detachable as they are still connected to the main body via a cable. According to the Virtual Genocide Systems (VGS) simulations, with this upgrade Genos would be able to defeat Mosquito Girl and Deep Sea King even in his wet form with relative ease. However, the Virtual Genocide Systems (VGS) simulations also show that normal Carnage Kabuto would still beat Genos in 2 attacks even with the upgrade. G4 upgrade. After defeating the battle robot G4, Genos replaces his parts with the parts of G4 which enhanced his speed and power. After this upgrade, the design of Genos' arms changes again. Post-Super Fight Arc upgrade. After being heavily damaged by Gaketsu, Dr. Kusino rebuilds Genos into a new version that further increases his strength. With these upgrades, he was capable of gaining an advantage against Geru in combat, albeit Geru was in his weakened state at the time, prompting the hero hunter to complement his abilities and even comparing his physical strength to that of Tank Top Master. Furthermore, Genos can now recall his body parts if they get detached. Additionally, he can summon blades from his arms that he used to slice through a horde of low-level monsters during the battle against Geru. He used these against Elder Centipede's exposed face later. His arms also have an almost net-like ability that he used to bind Geru to a tree after his arm was ripped off. Monster Association Arc upgrade. After Genos' battle against Elder Centipede, Dr. Kusino upgraded Genos once again to a new form. This form has sharper and more jagged arms than his previous forms with 3 large protrusions on each shoulder resembling knives. In this upgrade he takes on an almost demon-like appearance. Additionally, the blaster ports in his palms take the form of gaping demon mouths, and there are what appear to be tubes or wires coming from each of his arms connecting to the back of his head, forming a metal framing around his face. What sets this upgrade apart from others even further is its full black appearance, compared to previous upgrades that were a mix of black and other colored metals, or no black at all. The armor is also arranged as overlapping plates rather than plates that about one another. This form is unbalanced and focuses heavily on raw destructive power, at the request of Genos, because of Saitama's suggestions. Dr. Kusino stated that Genos can only go full power with this new upgrade for 10 seconds. Any more in his core would possibly give out and explode, killing Genos. In this form, Genos has beam emitters integrated along his arms and shoulders that he can use to attack enemies around him while he is otherwise occupied. These beams bend and arc towards his enemies similar to those of G4, indicating that Dr. Kusino integrated the technology into this upgrade. At full power, stated by himself, Genos is capable of firing energy beams powerful enough to destroy a giant meteor in one shot. With this, he managed to deflect the fusion of Psycho's and Orochi's energy attacks with his own. With his 10-second last resort attack, True Spiral Incineration Cannon, Genos was even able to match and completely negate one of the fusion monster's largest energy beams using said attack. The heat generated by the attack melted the armor over his core and left his arms glowing white hot.